All right, so in a disappointing 26-14 loss to the Chicago Bears in week 7, the New Orleans Saints struggle to find their rhythm pretty much for most of this game at Soldier Field, especially with Spencer Rattler, Chris Olave. Olave, he had 2 touchdowns in this game, but overall, his overall production, wasn't enough for this team to win. Despite the 2 touchdown passes between, the connection between Rattler and Olave, the Saints offense faltered under pressure from Chicago's defense that leads the league in takeaways right now. And while the defensive unit failed to contain key players, key Bear players early on, for the most of the game, the entire game, it exposed, the ongoing challenges for the New Orleans Saints, from the red zone issues, the defensive lapse. It continues, and not as I'm seeing a lot of, comments from people that, cover the team. They're starting to have concerns about this team long term based on these habits that we've seen since the season started. And just like the other games that this game played out, just like the other games, they were close. They had a chance to take the lead, and then they have a costly mistake. And once that costly mistake occurs, that's pretty much curtain for them, you know. So here's what we're gonna do, right? I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna provide for this game. I'm gonna provide 4 observations based on how the Saints perform in today's 26-14 loss to Chicago Bears. All right. So number one, Spencer Rattler. Right. Spencer Rattler performance today was a mixed bag because we saw a little bit of everything today. We saw the good, the bad, and the ugly from Spencer Rattler today. Um, Completed 20 of 32 passes, 233 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he also threw 3 interceptions today. 3 interceptions today. And today, I noticed that they kind of he let it loose today. He let the ball loose today compared to the previous weeks. You know, he had a touchdown pass to Chris Olave, 21 yards. Then he had a 57-yard deep ball pass to Olave. So that was I thought that was pretty good right there, pretty impressive. But those 3 turnovers are gonna overshadow everything, including that pick by Nashawn Wright inside the Saints 30 that pretty much highlighted his decision making in his game against a really aggressive Chicago Bears defense. Led by former Saints head coach, now the defensive coordinator for the Bears, Dennis Allen. And he was also sacked 4 times for 24 yards. So it was just a mixed bag in regards to how bad Spencer Rattler performed today. Because we saw a little bit of good, we saw a little bad, and we saw some ugly. And unfortunately for Spencer Rattler and his fan base, there's a huge contention of, I would say, non-pro Spencer Rattler fans that are clamoring for Tyler Shough to take over. And those voices got louder today, because you really can't. I know a lot of people say it's not all Spencer Rattler's fault, and that's true. But when you play this position, you know, You got to come through. You know what I mean? Um, Today, I mean, and me personally, I know winning is a very should be a. Some people view that. Some people view winning for Rattler as a key, you know, stat, a key indicator that he's not the guy. But this team to me has outside the quarterback, it has holes everywhere. You know, there's dirty hands everywhere with these losses. It's not just all on Spencer Rattler. But I do get people's point though. Can Spencer Rattler can this team win a game completely on the shoulders of Spencer Rattler? Can he will a team to victory despite having all these deficiencies? And so far, the answer is no. So far, he has not done that. So number one was Spencer Rattler's mixed performance. Second observation: Chris Olave's limited impact despite the key plays in this game. So as many of you already know, there was a report that came out by Diana Rossini that Chris Olave, the Saints, and Chris Olave are working on a long-term extension. Now I find it ironic that after that was announced, a day later, we see a lot of you know key plays. Chris Olave make a few explosive plays in this game. You know, despite that, he went down with an injury, came back. He had two touchdowns, 5 catches, 97 yards, um, 21-yard touchdown, and a 57-yard bomb from Olave. Had 7 targets, 2 touchdowns, average 19.6 um, yards per catch. But overall, man, the stat line to me was surprisingly quiet. You know, because he had zero total offensive yards outside of those scoring plays, right? Outside those scoring plays, as noted in the information I put out prior. So this suggests that the Bears secondary, boasted by T.J. Edwards, Kyler Gordon, effectively neutralized Olave for most of the game, limiting his involvement in the passing game, despite his numbers that he put up so far. But Dennis Allen, these are players that Dennis Allen drafted, and that Dennis Allen observed in practice when he was here, so he know the tendencies of what they can do. So number two was Chris Olave's limited impact despite big plays in the game. Number three, the third observation: offensive unit strengths with struggle. Wait, the offensive units struggles with execution and red zone efficiency. So the Saints offense is ranked 24th overall, right? 19 in rushing and 22nd in passing. It just today failed to find consistency. Because early in the game, the offense managed only um, 4 net yards. 4 net yards on 19 plays with Rattler's fumble, the interceptions. There's interception stalling drives. That was a key. That pretty much killed him right here. Because at one point this game was 20-14. And then right when the Saints had to make that big play to keep going, they turn it over. You know? So despite a late rally with 2 touchdowns, um, led by Spencer Rattler and Chris Olave, the group they struggle in the red zone, which has been a recurring issue with this team since the season started. They're 24th in red zone defense, conversion at 66.7. The offense's inability to pretty much capitalize on opportunities combined with pass A pass happy approach by Kellen Moore was, to me, this was evident as they failed to exploit the Bears' weak run defense. Because all week I was hearing people say that, all week people was talking about how bad the Bears' defense was against the run. But the Saints only managed a combined total of 44 yards. And then plus, Kendrick Miller left the game with an injury. Alvin Kamara only had 11 carries for 28 yards. Spencer Rattler ran the ball for 2 times. Ran 2 times for 12 yards. Taysom Hill just ain't there yet. 2 carries for -4 yards. So they just didn't have a good game today. This didn't at all. And despite the stat line of the Bears having a bad run defense, you know. Number 4, to close it out, right? I got the forward and final observation is defensive units, early struggles, and missed opportunities. So Saints defense is ranked 18 overall, 25th in points allowed. Started off pretty poorly today, conceding a field goal and a touchdown to DeAndre Swift on the Bears' early drives. And on top of that, they made DeAndre Smith. They had DeAndre Swift looking like he was Alvin Kamara, the way he was playing today. He ran for 19 carries. He had 19 carries, 124 yards, and 1 touchdown, and averaged 6.5 yards per carry. He was going off on the Saints defense. They had no answer for this guy. Then Kyle Monagai, he had 13 carries for 81 yards and 1 touchdown. He averaged 6.2 yards per carry against his defense. And that's all they pretty much had to do. They really didn't have to air it out with their passing attack because at first they were trying to do that until when Caleb Williams threw that interception, Ben Johnson decided to go on the ground, and that was the right decision. That was the right decision to start using the ground game because the Saints had no answers for it because they gave up over 222 yards on the ground. 222 yards on the ground. And then also, the defense struggled with discipline, giving up 4 first downs by the way of penalties. You know, they couldn't stop the big plays from the Bears. Um, DJ Moore had a 26-yard catch and run to pick up a first down. They just couldn't do nothing. They just really couldn't do nothing. And like they're not getting blown out, but you get the point. This game was at first it was like 20-0, right? Then in the second quarter, the Saints scored 2 touchdowns going into halftime, I believe. 20-4. It was 20-14. Going into coming out of the halftime, I think the Saints did get the ball back. And they were driving, right? And then that's what turnover occurred at. And that's from that point forward, it just went downhill. It just went downhill with the bear with this team. So it's just what it is right now, man. It's just what it is, and I give them what lies ahead. They play Tampa Bay Buccaneers next week at the Dome. I give them no chance. I give them zero chance to win that game. I just don't. I know in division games we've seen craziest things in the past and all, but I don't see that happening tomorrow next week against the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are playing a lot better compared to the previous years when they've won the division, and it looks like they're gonna win the division again. They just are. So I don't think they'll win that game. So they'll be 1-7. And according to Tankathon, they're picking at 3 right now. The Saints are slide to pick at 3. So now I know a lot of people are happy about that. They're losing. They want to see the team bottom out, get a top five pick, and you might be getting that because I think it's gonna be a while until we see a Saints victory. I think it's gonna be a while, because I don't see them winning against the Buccaneers. I don't see them definitely. I definitely don't see them beating the Rams. The Panthers might be a loss. The Falcons might be a loss. Who knows? By the time you play the Miami Dolphins, let's see, 1-6, 1-7, 1-8, 1-9. You could be 1-10. Saints could be possibly 1-10 by the time they play the Miami Dolphins on November 30th. So that's how bad it can get, you know. But this is what rebuilding teams do. I'm not pro shop Tyler Shuck. I'm not pro Spencer Rattler. I don't care who starts. It's just my concern is one of these guys good? Are these guys any good? Are these guys that we can build around? You know, because if not, the Saints are going to be at the drawing board again, looking for a quarterback. You know, I'm not opposed to allowing Tyler Shuck start to see what we have. I'm not, but that's up to the coaching staff. So right now, it's just best to let Spencer Rattler start and see how he responds, see how he bounces back from this game. Is probably this is his worst game of the 2025 season. See how he starts, see how he recovers from this, and go forward. So we'll see how it play out. But that's all I have for y'all for right now. That was my four observations from today's matchup between the New Orleans Saints and the Chicago Bears. Saints lose today 26-14. They're now 1-6 on the season. I believe the Bears are now 4-2. So now up next is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Have a blessed night. Peace. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm out.